Most of the time, young people go to school and they want to graduate and they want to work in different organizations, be it government organization, non-government organization, humanitarian organization, or even the United Nations. So today in the Coffee Chats with Felicitas, I have a special guest, and he is working in one of those organizations, and he's going to share with us how it was easy or difficult for him in applying for a job in that organization. Because personally, I've tried to apply and it has been really a challenge for me. And I know there are so many young people who want to pursue career in that direction. So welcome so much, Badru. And before further ado, please introduce yourself and tell us what you do, what you're doing in relation to what you're going to talk about today. Karibu sana.
Yeah, thank you so much, Felicity. I'm humbled to join this session. Of course, I've been following it quite a while, but then to be among those who are chosen to be part of this session, I think I'm humbled and very much blessed. So briefly, by name, I'm Badru Juma and currently working with Restless Development as a senior program coordinator, managing the voice pillar, as well as managing the Ford Foundation grant. And briefly, with that grant, we are supporting 18 youth-led organizations across 18 councils of Tanzania, supporting them in internal capacity building, as well as supporting them on how they can mainstream gender issues and inclusion into their operation and their activities. But previously, I worked with the UN Global Compact under the UNDP, United Nations Development Program, for about 3 years. And the role involved supporting private sector on better ways on how they can comply with issues related to human rights, gender, environment, as well as laws. But also supporting the private sector and other non-government actors on how they can report on SDGs. So, but tracing back before joining UN Global Compact, I used to volunteer with the Youth of United Nations Association, known as UNA, as a country secretary general, and supporting the localization of the UN agenda among the young people in Tanzania, both in school and out of school. So it's a role that I played for quite a long time, a period of time, for about 2-3 years, volunteering with the United Nations, Youth of United Nations Association of Tanzania. Yes, so briefly, maybe I can say that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've really learned a lot about you because I was taking your career as too general, but you're doing a lot of work, especially now that the government of Tanzania is trying to strengthen the PPP in order to push the SDGs by 2030. So actually, just to understand, if I am a young person, I really want to pursue the career of working in an international organization. Which background of education should I have? Which majors should I actually concentrate on so that I can successfully get a job in an international organization, Badru?
Yeah, thank you so much, Felicity. In fact, it is one of the questions that I also normally come across time to time, even through my social media platform. I normally come across such questions. But then it may not only be international organization or UN, but then it could be even within local organization. They are the same skills that are needed. You know, talking about the career, you know, what kind of career can someone pursue? For the UN, I think it is for every career. You know, it is for every career, not only doctors, not only teachers, because we have several UN agencies that are working on specialized activities and programs. For instance, when it comes to issues related to labor, we have the ILO, International Labour Organization. When it comes to issues related to education, we have UNESCO. We also have issues related to young children and young people. We have UNICEF. You know, we have UNFPA that is working on healthy. You know, you can even go ahead to mention agencies like World Health Organization. You know, we also have, if someone interested about humanitarian work and issue related to immigration, we have IOM, International Monetary Organization. So there are several organizations that are working on specialized areas and programs. But then you know, the same skill as I mentioned, you know, every profession, you need to have experience. And experience has been a major hindrance to most of us. You know, we had that dream to work with the UN, but then you are volunteering, but then you learned that maybe a job position was advertised on it needs 10 years work experience, and for you just a volunteer, you're not yet even a staff. So I think personally, my personal experience, volunteering with the Youth of United Nations, it introduced me to understand how the UN operates, how communication is done internally, the opportunities. But it also gave me an opportunity to get mentors, you know, to understand people internally within the UN, so who could mentor me in different aspects, but I could also support them. You know, I'm kind of person who needs to, I just want to see myself being innovative. You know, whenever there's a gap, I normally come up and try to fix it. For instance, we understood that there was a gap when the UN launched the Sustainable Development Goals. So most of the young people were not aware of the SDGs. So our role was to champion the SDG agenda among the young people by sensitizing them, providing tailored education session in different universities, out of schools. So with that few or small activities, we are able now to attract most of the UN agencies. So they were supporting us. So in the long run, we became experts in the youth sector. Yeah, whenever maybe any person, any activity that could be thought of and they wanted young people on board, then Youth of United Nations Association could be reached out to mobilize young people. So, and we've seen very many young people transitioning from volunteering with the Youth of United Nations to different UN agencies. Reason being because whenever the UN is recruiting, they normally prefer people who understand what the UN does. You know, if you understand what the UN is doing, then it is easy for you to push your career through. But also it means that it will help you to even to tailor your CV and your motivation letter the way how it is needed. You know, currently the big agenda in the UN Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs. So meaning that whenever you're applying, you need to show which SDG goal are you supporting. You know, what is experience when implementing SDG goals. So that's the global agenda, but then to the UN, it means a lot. And I think even to other international organizations or other partners, it means a lot if you have experience on SDGs. You may not have experience in all 17 goals, but at least you could be passionate about maybe 5 or 3 goals. It could help you to push through whenever you're applying for a job. But then something else is we need to build our career, maybe our online presence. You know, for most of the UN agencies, the application they are done through different specialized online portals. So you need to feed in well the information on different portals. Like currently we have the UN career. There's also a portal for you for those who are interested in volunteerism with the UN. It is a paid volunteerism, like known as UNV, United Nations Volunteers. And for it, it doesn't have, of course, there's a limit in terms of age, but then even someone at 60 years, 70 years, they could also volunteer. So there are some positions that are advertised that caters for specific age group, but others are not, there's no age limit. So if someone can take his or her time to feed and fill in the job, those applications correctly, then they stand a higher chance of being nominated or applying for any job whenever advertised by any UN agencies. But then something to note is most of the UN agencies, they normally prefer to outsource locally their staffs. You see, the priority is normally given to nationals of that specific country. However, there are some positions that are global. So, and I think that's where now because of unemployment globally, that's where now competition comes in. You could find a particular job and you find the competition is very huge, even globally. So it may be someone is supposed to be based in Tanzania, but then maybe you find maybe successful applicant comes maybe from Germany or from Japan or any other country. So you stand a high chance if you you choose maybe where your passion belongs and which SDG goal you want to champion. You could do some work around it. Then when time comes for application, you need to consider that, but also show how far and how long you've been volunteering in your community. Because at the end of the day, any single employer would love to see beyond education, what else were you doing? You see, you could choose maybe to volunteer, and it is never late. If you've never done anything to your community, maybe this could be the right time to start something, to initiate something, and that small step could drive you to where you want to be, maybe in UN agencies or international organization. Yes, Felicity.
Yes. So I really have gained a lot. So being a volunteer, the voluntary experience doesn't go to waste. So young people should volunteer for skill development, for also connection, because when you volunteer, you meet your prospect employers. Yeah, so do we have like a specific major that you need to major into? For example, I studied public health. So my goal maybe, of course, it's easier to get a job as being a public health and international organization, because health is universal. Health is something that is needed everywhere. That much I understand. But for somebody who hasn't studied maybe public health, which majors are more likely to push that person to get the job at an international organization?
Yes, maybe to answer your question, I could run through all the sustainable development goals, 17 of them.
Yeah.
I'll just mention them. For instance, goal number 1 is centered on poverty, no poverty. Meaning someone who is doing agriculture, someone who is interested on environmental issues. This could be one of the areas to focus on, like, you take your action, you support your community, you support your nation, the world, on how they can overcome poverty, because these agendas, they run for 30 years. So for 15 years. So by 2030, we want to see the world where we have no poverty, but also zero hunger. It's someone maybe interested in issues related to agriculture, someone interested in issues related to innovation in the food industry. This could be one of the areas to focus on. We also have now where public health comes into play. Goal number 3 is centered on good health and well-being. So it's one of the goals that it cuts across, it's universal, but then it's one of the areas where we can champion. And just to mention one thing, these goal areas, they have different indicators, they have different targets. So you may not implement all of these, targets or indicators, but you could choose one of the area and you say this will be my focus maybe the next 5 years or 10 years, or you gain experience and you become an expert in that area. For instance, for me currently, the project that I'm running is centered on SDG 16, target 7, indicator 2. So I'm focusing on inclusion and participation of young people and other vulnerable groups in decision making. So that's what I've been working on within these 2 years. But also, someone interested maybe in education, goal number 4 is centered on quality education. It also has different targets, different indicators. We have goal number 5 for those interested in gender. You see, gender issues, inclusion. It's one of the areas that maybe someone could also focus on. But also, Felicity, something important maybe before I go other goals is that these goals are interdependent. For instance, for you, you're studying public health, or you studied public health. You could center that public health with gender. You see, because the nature of these goals were designed. If one goal is not implemented, could affect the implementation of another. So we have to implement them collectively without affecting one goal or another. But also we have those studying issues related to water management and sanitation, maybe urban development. Goal number 6 is on clean water and sanitation. It's something maybe someone also can think about, maybe doing something in that kind of area. Then people are interested in energy issues. Goal number 7 it could be theirs because it is centered on affordable and clean energy. Then, for instance, those who are interested in issues related to labor and decent work, goal number 8 could be better for them. So then SDG number 9 is if I'm not forgotten, it is talking about industrial innovation and infrastructure. Then we have goal number 10, it is focusing on reduced inequalities. Number 11, it is on sustainable cities and communities. Number 12 is on responsible consumption and production. You know, you see most of these goals, they are somewhere, somehow, you know, implementation of one goal could lead you to implementation or fulfillment or another. So if one is not implemented, it could also affect other goals. So goal number 13 is on climate change and climate action. So people working on this area, this could be theirs. You know, people who are driving environmental innovation initiatives in their communities. But also we have life below water as number 14. Number 15 is life on land. Then number 16 that I'm currently championing is peace, justice, and strong institutions, as well as number 17, which is on partnership for all goals. So for instance, most of these goals, as I earlier mentioned, they are interdependent. So if someone is looking maybe for a career to pursue, these sustainable development goals, 17 of them could help you to see maybe where you fit, because these are global agendas and they're implemented by different partners. But one of the partners, of course, you have the governments of the UN member state as well as the UN itself. So for the UN, they play a secretarial role in terms of monitoring, in terms of reporting, in terms of at time maybe raising funds for the member state to implement all these goals. The reason why I said that maybe these goals they could guide someone's career, it's because these 17 goals, they are at times 17 opportunities that that the world can offer, but they also within these goals they also come with 17 different challenges that are facing the world today. So when you talk about maybe issues related to climate change, climate action, you know, we are living in a climate crisis days. So someone maybe in an innovation in that area, this could be an opportunity for him or her. So we also have maybe a UN all these goals, they are different UN agencies that are implementing them. However, now when it comes maybe for goal 17, it is centered on partnership. So there are even different UN agencies that are working to see there's a collective approach among the UN agencies to implement these goals. And in Tanzania, we have an initiative known as One UN. So where the UN is coming together to implement a specific agenda in different areas. And one of the projects, I think, it is implemented in Kigoma, where different UN agencies and other partners come together to provide the resources, their skills and time to implement specific projects in Kigoma region. So Felista, I don't know if I've answered very well your question.
Yes. You've really expanded the explanation, and it's very, very clear. So looking at the opportunities that are there in these SDG goals, they can guide a career of someone. And you've also talked about young people being able to volunteer, to gather experience, skills, and understand this organization. So it's easy for an employer to employ someone as a volunteer because they know that that person really understands that organization. Thank you so much, Badru. You've given really a good explanation. It's a benefit to me, and everybody will be able to listen to this coffee chat. So last but not least, I think this is the last question. We just want to know, how was your journey? Was it really easy? What are the challenges, especially when you are focusing on pursuing a career in an international organization? Personally, how was it for you, so that a young person who is aspiring to go to that path is able to learn something from you, Badru?
Yeah, thank you so much, Felicity. Honestly, before university, I didn't know where I wanted to be. Yeah, but then I think I started my undergraduate degree at Mackay University. So I remember in 2011, I was in my first year at Makerere University. So and I pursued social sciences, but majored in political science and public administration. So during our first lecture, a class, our hall was full of students. We are around 300 of us. So one of the professor came and asked, who knows why he or she is here? You see, it was a bit tricky. And then I don't know where I got the courage, so my hand was up. So he's like, okay, introduce yourself. I say, I'm Badru, I come from Tanzania. You see, I studied in this in secondary school. So he asked me, so why are you here? Then I said, I want to be an ambassador.
I think your speaker is shaking a little bit. Maybe you can, yes.
Yes, so I said I wanted to be an ambassador. So the class laughed, so he told me, sit down. So to me, I think from there, I became a friend to my professor. The fact that he knew I was coming from Tanzania and he knew Kiswahili because he pursued some of his studies in Kenya, but also he has colleagues, in Tanzania. So I became a friend to the professor from day one at university, even up to there. So to me, it gave me courage, but also it meant that I got a mentor from day one at university. So even off campus, I could join him maybe at his work, at his family areas, So I became maybe a member of his family. So what happens is while at university, there are different clubs, there are different clubs, there are different associations where you have Tanzania Student Association, you have Kenya Student Association, there are several. So I used to join most of the clubs because while my first year, I didn't have a lot to do. So from there, I could meet colleagues who are having different associations. Maybe they have friends who are running NGOs like that. So to me, I found an opportunity where I found that there are very many clubs within the university, but we didn't have maybe a single club that could bring together different students from different countries together. So I championed the establishment of East African Community Students Union at a university. So I think it is one of the strongest associations at the university today because it brings together young people from East African region. And recently, even Congo is planning to join, but also Sudan, South Sudan is also a member. So, and there are very many students from those countries that are there. So one of the first steps that the club helped us to advocate for harmonization of school fees at the university. Because before, during my first year and my second year, we were being charged as international students studying in Uganda. So the same amount of fee that maybe a Japanese or a German could pay at the university, to the same fee that we are paying at Tanzanian, Kenyans. So whereas for the nationals, the Ugandans, they are paying lesser school fees compared to us. So through that association, I think it gave us energy, that kind of bond. We were able to advocate within the university, structures, but also it also gave us an opportunity to advocate for them at East African community level, because we had the numbers, and we had justifiable causes on why we needed harmonization fee structure at the university. So while in my third year, one of the heads of state summits of East African community, then the president of Uganda announced that he had approved the harmonization of school fees at the university. So to me there now, it also gave me an opportunity, to know how East African community was working. I was introduced to East African community through that association, but also I realized after the university, through the association, I was able maybe to practice issue related to leadership. You see, by the time I was a member of the association, I didn't know, what I was doing. You see, yeah. But then after like 2 years, I realized that most of the things that I learned, they are things that I'm applying today in my daily career. So it was I was volunteering and I didn't see any hardship because I had the resources within myself. You know, you're studying at the university, you have free time, you don't pay for your accommodation, you pay for your accommodation, but then by volunteering, by having an ample time to volunteer, you don't pay extra cost, but it builds you. You build connection, as young people say today. You meet friends from different backgrounds. You take initiatives, you know, you lead some of the activities, some of the programs, like that. But then I also learned that volunteerism has no limit. You know, most of us, we normally ask ourselves, when should I volunteer? You know, how long should I volunteer? So the best answer could be, the best time to volunteer is now, you know. Yes, the best time is now, and it doesn't have any limit. So you could volunteer until maybe you leave this world. So Felicity, to me, my journey, that's how my journey started. But then joining different initiatives at a global level, I attended several sessions, several meetings, several workshops from the UN level in New York. I've been there for several times. I joined different youth platform at Commonwealth level, and I represented young people at Commonwealth for quite 2 years. At the African community, a member of the ES Youth Ambassador platform. At national level, there are different networks that I joined. One is Youth of United Nations Association of Tanzania, and Tanzania Youth Vision Association, known as TYVA. And most of these associations, youth groups, they have been influential in terms of providing mentorship to young people, because the association that we find most of our leaders today, the political leaders today, they've went through the same program, the same association. So I may not mention all of them, but then they are there. You see, it's something that motivates us. If someone has been here and I'm also here, then I need to be where they are, maybe in future or 5 years from now to there. Asante sana, Felicity.
Asante. So just the last bit, I know I said this is the last question, but I know when you want to apply for a job in an international organization, what tips do you give to a young person? I know you need to prepare your curriculum CV, curriculum vitae. You also need to prepare your if a company needs your resume or CV, either of the two, or you need a cover letter. What tips would you like to give to young people? Because those are the most areas that really are critical. And also we have areas like you need to say a little bit, write a little bit of essay in relation to your work experience. Just a summary of what should be written really in these documents, because that's where the tricky part of the application. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Felicity. And I will also share maybe one of the experience. You see, in most cases, it might be a bit tricky, you see, because you know, some of the like international organizations, they don't encourage CV. You know, like the UN, there's nowhere you're going to send your CV, but they have their tailored portal where you feed in your information, which is more easier compared to writing a CV. However, other agencies, you may be, there are different quality they will be looking at, and they will tell you, you know what, Felicity, send us a 1-page CV. But for you, you have maybe a 5-6 page CV. But this time they want a 1-page. So you ask yourself, what should I include? Why should I leave out? Like that. So I also faced same challenges. I remember there was time when I was applying for an opportunity at the European Union here in Tanzania, and they wanted only one single CV and a motivation letter, not more than 500 words. So it was a bit hectic for me, but then I had to reach out to colleagues. You know, I had colleagues, you know, who are working with other programs. So I asked one of them, okay, could I have a look at your CV? And this was my friend who was coming from UK. Of course, she lived there, she worked there. So at least she was ahead of me in terms of experience. So I sat down with her. She showed me the way. Okay, like, okay, this is, if you're applying for a job at European Union, uh, uh, they have their format, their CV format, but it's something that no one will tell you. So she had to pull out different formats. Like, no, this is how Europeans apply for jobs. Yes. So, and this information is also available online, different platform online. If you can Google maybe, European Union CV format, you could get one and see how it is, how they are. They have even different examples. But then I realized that in most cases, they just want to know, if someone tells I want a one-page CV. Of course, they know you have a CV, but then it is up to you now to come down and see what is important for you to be on the CV. Of course, someone is interested maybe to know what is your objective for applying for that job, your academic qualifications, but also beyond academics, what kind of experience do you have? Where have you worked before that? Maybe if you have maybe other certificates that you've earned beyond the academic, there could be small certificates, there could be online certifications. You could also list them, but also attach maybe the last page should be composed of your referees. And when you talk about your referees, at times you may not get a job because of the nature of your referees.
Yeah.
So at time we need to choose whom to write on our referees. In most cases, I've been part of different recruitment processes. So if I maybe someone wrote maybe a certain minister as his or her as a referee. So you just ask yourself before you write such a person, like if the employer is going to need further information about you, will that person be able to provide that information? You see? So at time maybe we need to, if you want someone to become a referee, let them know, let them aware that you've written them as your referees. In case a call is made for them to recommend you, they can pick up such calls, but also they can respond where needed. So maybe a referee should be someone who is accessible, you see. But then something else that is also important, Felicity, is that in most cases I've seen people prefer volunteerism as one of the I think one of the indicators for you to apply for the job. So however much little that that space is in terms of volunteerism, but you have to indicate it somewhere somehow, so they know this person is also, because even at workplace there are some things that you need to take initiative, you have to take leadership by volunteerism, so it's something that doesn't end at being on your CV, but you have to portray it even further. So I think there's no one single route, how to be successful in terms of CV writing, because having a CV on paper is one thing, but then presenting it is also could be also another issue. So for me, I believe your CV could be on your head, at heart. When someone asks you, you'll be ready to show up. But also another thing that I've also learned through my journey is whenever I apply for a job and I miss out on maybe being shortlisted, maybe after that process has ended, I normally try to reach out to the agents that had applied the job with. So inquiring maybe from the HR, I ask him or her, okay, I had submitted my application. Understand I was left out because I didn't meet the quality that you're looking at. Maybe could you support me, in terms, how could I have written my CV? Others, they've been very honest, they could support you. Others, they may not support you. Maybe it's not because they don't want, but because they are a bit busy, you see. So it helps you, because they also want you to improve your skills, your learning, you see. But also something I've also learned in terms of job application, you see, I don't want to be idle. I'm currently working, but I normally prefer maybe after 5 months I apply for a certain job. The reason is I want to see if I'm still employable. if I meet the current job market skills and and qualities. And it's not a bad idea, because you learn a lot from it. If you're just trying out and you're shortlisted, then you just say, okay, now at this stage maybe I'm okay. Maybe why is it that I don't go through the interview process very well? If you just identify that, you understand it is a gap, you need to work on it every day, day in, day out. But something most important as well is the different information online on how to, job searching skills, how you could be mapping for your prospect employer, you see. All the information could be online. It is up to us as young people, maybe people looking for job, to see what is right and what is wrong, to practice as well, you see. But then another thing that I've also learned as a last thing is, in today's job market, people are looking for better working conditions. You see, before, people are looking for better standards of living. I think most of us, we've earned that better standard of living. Now people are focusing on better and quality working environment, where the environment is flexible. Like we are coming from COVID era, so most of the employers, they resorted to flexible working environment where staffs could work from home and could be, just to be free and safe from COVID pandemic. So I think today that's where the world is heading. Every single employer is trying to to work hard day in, day out, to make sure that the working environment is safe for everyone. It also attracts prospect employees for your company and for your job. So thank you so much, Felicity. I'm not sure if I've answered very well.
Yes, you've exceeded my expectation, because literally, personally, I've learned a lot. As much as you are working, you are supposed to update your skills. You're also supposed to try and apply for other jobs to see if you are really employable. So really, that's a very key note, because most of the time when we get well-paid jobs, we forget, we relax. We are really comfortable with where we are, but the world is changing every day and things are changing every time. And maybe, who knows, you might lose that job. And because you didn't take an initiative of improving your skills, you didn't take an initiative of trying something else, then you are left out of the market, or you are left out of place, I might say. So thank you so much, Badru. I think you've really exhausted everything that I really needed to hear. And also for the audience that will listen to this podcast or this coffee chat, will be able to at least gain something about their career path, be it in the government offices or be it in an international organization. This content is relevant to any person who is looking for a job out there. So thank you so much, Badru. Any last words you want to say before we close?
I think is to thank you and congratulate you upon this platform. And I think it's very, very much important. And I will also visit it regularly to see other speakers, what I can learn, but also share out with other people. You see, we are living in a world where information is very key, and this platform could be part and source of information provision to most of the young people in Tanzania and even at global level. So thank you so much, and keep the good music alive.
Thank you so much. And from me, it's bye-bye, Badru. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.